I have been given the honor of presenting the Community Achievement Award to a unique individual that we all know for dedication and undying loyalty to the town of Windsor and its people. In my 40 years being involved with the Chamber, this is the second time we've given this award out. Yet she has devoted her last 19 years of her life to the people and the town of Windsor. Christine is a very given person, not only in her time, but her money too. And it's my very proud. I'm trying not to crack up here. To ask Christine Ermenc to come up here and receive this award.
I am so touched by this award. Thank you so very much. And as you know, I'm in the history business, and history is really the stories of people, and it's taking the long view. And so when you take the long view, many of us realize that we're lucky enough to stand on really tall shoulders. And I would not be here if it wasn't for a little group of 15 or so people almost a century ago in 1921. And they loved their town so much that they wanted to prepare for its 300th anniversary in 1933. It was Connecticut's first town, and we didn't have a historical society, so they founded one. And then 2 members of that original group, decades later, left us bequests in their wills so that we would be around for longer than them. And that was L.P. Wilson and Marguerite Mills. And so many organizations in town are the beneficiaries of their wealth. And then speaking of tall shoulders, I'm sure many of you remember with great affection Bob Silliman, who was our executive director of Windsor Historical Society. He was my predecessor. And for any of you that knew Bob, he was just someone you could listen to forever. He had wonderful stories. He was born and bred in Pequannock. He was an amazing gentleman. He was a lovely man. He would come in Tuesday afternoons and we would sit at computers. He would answer genealogical queries and I would be working on grants. But I just figure I was so lucky to stand on his shoulders because he prepared the way. So history allows you to look back and it humbles you, but it also allows you to look forward. And when you look forward, you kind of realize that anything you do today may have repercussions for people in the future. And I have come to know Windsor just as an amazing town with a huge heart. And that's really because of all of you. So I want you to just take a moment to look around. And who do you see? And I'll tell you who I see. I see whole tables of people who volunteer their time and their multiple talents to keep Windsor's civic and cultural organizations strong. And I see people from Windsor's business community who contribute in so many ways to making Windsor a wonderful place to live. And it's just been an amazing journey. I also see leaders. I see town leaders, and I see people who, watchdog the town leaders. And I see a lot of extra hours spent in governing in the attempt to make Windsor the best town it can be. And so my husband and I actually years ago, when we were 2 young museum people in Hartford, didn't have a whole lot of money, we wanted to buy a first house in Windsor. We wanted a historic house, we wanted to be able to afford it, and it just so happened that the historic house we found that we could afford was in Enfield. But we always had this warmth in our heart for Windsor. So it didn't happen that I live in Windsor, but I've spent so much time here that I've come to know it really well. And I really think that as well as being Connecticut's first town, Windsor's Connecticut's best town. So thank you so much for this award. It has been such an honor and a joy to serve at Windsor Historical Society.